The thick, humid air of my garage hung heavy, mixing the scent of motor oil and sawdust with something subtly, nauseatingly fishy. My dog, Gus, was sprawled at my feet, occasionally thumping his tail against the concrete. In my hand, a cold drink, but my attention was fixed on the vibrating phone. It was voicemail number 6 from Courtney, my ex-fiancée. Each message had been a little sharper, a little more unhinged than the last. This one was a symphony of fury, veiled threats about her dad's lawyers making my life miserable, promises of eternal regret. I just leaned back, a small, wry smile playing on my lips. Good luck with that, sweetheart. The source of the fishy smell was a bottle of bait oil on a nearby shelf. Gus went absolutely feral for anything tuna-scented, and it was great for training, terrible for everything else. Smelled like a pier at low tide. It was a lingering, unpleasant odor, much like the memory of how this entire situation had detonated about 10 months ago. 2 years. That's how long it took for someone to finally show you who they'd been all along. It had started on a Monday night. I was buried in parts invoices for a custom LS swap when my attorney called. She handles all my business contracts, sharp, efficient, bills by the minute, and earns every cent. Clay, Prenup's ready. Standard protection package. Your business assets, the house, premarital investments. Clean and fair, everything we discussed. Courtney, 29, and I, 37, had been engaged for 8 months, together for 2 years. She'd moved into my 3-bedroom ranch, the one I'd bought at auction 7 years ago, and spent 2 years of nights and weekends making livable. Foundation work, electrical, plumbing, roof, I'd done about 60% of it myself. It wasn't a starter home. My company, Apex Performance, custom automotive builds and restorations, was valued at around $1.8 million. I'd started it 13 years ago with a Max credit card and a rented bay, sleeping on a cot and eating gas station burritos just to make payroll. My investments, stacked since my old man taught me about compound interest at 19, were significant. Clay, he'd said, calculator in hand, every dollar you put away now is worth 5 when you're 60. Start early or start never. He was gone now, but I still heard his voice. The prenup was textbook: my business, my house, her assets, her 401k, savings, the Audi her parents helped with, were hers. If we divorced, she'd get reasonable support based on our marriage length. It was a fair deal, basic asset protection. My attorney had even given me a pointed look when I mentioned we'd been engaged 8 months without it. Clay, you're lucky she hasn't already looked into what you're worth. Thanks. I'll bring her by tomorrow to review. That night, I made dinner, grilled steaks, her favorite, with garlic butter and roasted vegetables. I kept things easy, relaxed. I thought we'd have a quick, adult conversation. She'd skim the document, ask a couple of questions, sign, and we'd move on. Simple. Courtney, I said, my attorney finished the prenup. We can go over it tomorrow and get it signed. She looked up from her phone. A year ago, she'd have set it down, asked what was wrong. Now, she did that eyebrow thing, the one that meant she was already offended before she'd even processed what I said. Prenup? I thought we were past that. We'd talked about it briefly when we got engaged. I'd mentioned wanting one, given the business. She'd made some comment about trust, how prenups were planning to fail. I figured we'd circle back. She, apparently, thought circling back meant I'd eventually cave. We discussed it. I never said we'd skip it. My business needs protection. It's smart planning. Her face changed, not confused, but annoyed. Like my 13 years of work were an inconvenience to her evening. Clay, I'm not signing anything that screws me over if we divorce. That's not what it does. It protects what we each brought to the marriage. You should actually read it before. I don't need to read it. I'm not signing. That was the first red flag. When someone won't even look at a document, they're not interested in fair. They've already done the math. Half of $1.8 million is a lot better than whatever they could build themselves. I stayed calm. Courtney, this isn't negotiable. I won't marry without asset protection. She laughed. Not the warm, genuine laugh that first drew me to her, but the kind that dismisses you, that says you're the dumbest person in the room. Asset protection from me? That's actually insulting, Clay. It's business, not personal. Marriage is personal. God, you're so transactional sometimes. She stood, hands on hips, that pose she took when she thought she'd already won. I'd seen it 100 times in 2 years, over small arguments about dinner or her mother's extended visits. Usually, I'd compromise. This wasn't small. Here's the deal, she said, her voice dripping with that I always get my way energy. You either marry me as is or not at all. No prenup, no contracts, no lawyers. Just us. Take it or leave it. The ultimatum hung in the air. 2 years together, 8 months engaged, $30,000 in wedding deposits. And she was finally showing me exactly who she was. Not the woman who'd laughed at my jokes, but the one who believed my life's work should automatically become half hers the moment she said, I do. Okay, I said. She smiled, that triumphant smirk. Good. I'm glad you finally know. Okay, as in not at all. Her smile vanished so fast it looked like I'd slapped it off her face. What? You gave me 2 options. I'm picking the second one. Clay, you're not calling off our wedding over a stupid contract. I'm not calling it off over a contract. I'm calling it off because you just told me you think marriage means automatic access to everything I built before I met you. That's not partnership, Courtney. That's a business acquisition. She stared, a flicker of something real, loss? Fear? Crossing her face before the walls went up. Tears or anger? Double down or retreat? You're serious. Completely. Fine. Sleep on it. You'll come around. She went. Upstairs, the door slamming hard enough to knock a picture crooked in the hallway. I heard her pacing, then her muffled voice on the phone, probably to her sister, already crafting the narrative. Poor Courtney, engaged to a monster who cares more about money than love. I didn't sleep on it. Didn't need to. At 9:12 p.m., I called my attorney. She picked up on the second ring. It's Clay. Kill the prenup drafting. Engagement's off. A pause. Clay, you sure? People get emotional about prenups. Maybe give her time to, she laughed at it. Gave me an ultimatum. I'm taking door number 2. A longer pause. Understood. Files closed. Call me if anything changes. Nothing was changing. Next call, the wedding planner. 7 weeks out, 30 grand already spent. Oh my God, Clay, the wedding is in 7 weeks. We just finalized the seating chart. Engagement's off. Cancel all vendors, all arrangements. Everything. Send me the breakdown of cancellation fees. This will be expensive. Cancellation fees, non-refundable deposits, strict venue policies. Probably $24,000, maybe $25,000 total. That number should have made me sick. Instead, it felt like the cheapest insurance policy I'd ever buy. Half of $1.8 million versus $25,000. Not even close. Do it. Cancel everything. What about Courtney? Shouldn't she be involved in? Courtney made her decision. I'm making mine. I spent the next 3 hours systematically tearing down 6 months of planning. Photographer, caterer, florist, band, transportation. Every call, the same script. This is Clay. The July 12th wedding is cancelled. Please confirm fees in writing. The venue hit hardest, 12 grand for a renovated farmhouse. She'd literally cried when she saw it, said it was everything she'd dreamed of. I'd written the check without a second thought. Now, it was just a line item on a spreadsheet. By 1 a.m., I had a file saved as cheaplesson.xlsx, itemizing $24,847 in sunk costs. Sometimes, you just have to laugh. Tuesday morning, Courtney came downstairs, full makeup, that sundress she knew I liked. The whole production. Morning, babe. I made coffee. I was at the kitchen table, confirming cancellations. 3 vendors had sent "Are you sure?" follow-ups overnight. Courtney, we need to talk. If this is about last night, I forgive you. She poured coffee like nothing happened. The prenup thing was hurtful, but I've thought about it. We can move past this. We don't need to let something like this ruin what we have. She forgave me for wanting to protect 13 years of work. Classic. There's nothing to move past. Wedding's cancelled. She froze, coffee mug halfway to her lips. What do you mean, cancelled? I spent last night calling every vendor. Venue, catering, flowers, band, photographer, transportation. All of it. Done. You can't cancel our wedding without asking me. You gave me an ultimatum. I answered it. I didn't mean cancel the wedding. I meant drop the prenup. That wasn't what you said, Courtney. You said marry me as is or not at all. I picked not at all. Those were the only options you gave me. Her face cycled through confusion, anger, and something approaching panic in about 3 seconds. Coffee sloshed across the counter. This is insane. You're throwing away our entire relationship over money. I'm protecting myself from someone who thinks she's entitled to half of everything I built before she existed in my life. Big difference. That's what marriage means. Sharing everything. What's yours is mine. No. Marriage means building together from this point forward. It doesn't mean you get equity in 13 years of work you had nothing to do with. You didn't build Apex Performance. You didn't spend 2 years living in a construction zone renovating this house. You didn't eat ramen for 2 years so you could make payroll. I supported you emotionally for 2 years. And emotional support doesn't come with stock options. She started crying, real tears smearing her careful makeup. The kind of tears that usually got her whatever she wanted. This time, I didn't move. Where am I supposed to go? She sobbed. This is my home, too. You can't just throw me out. This is my house, Courtney. It has been for 7 years. Your name's not on anything. You can stay through the weekend to figure out arrangements. That's more notice than most landlords give. She stormed upstairs. Door slam number 2, even harder than the first. Within minutes, I heard her on the phone, crying and ranting to her sister or her mom about how cold and heartless I was. I had a 9 a.m. client meeting for a '69 Camaro build. Wasn't about to be late. Over the next few days, she threw everything at me, the silent treatment, hostile stares, the engagement ring left on the counter like bait, then taken back, then left again. Her friend, Erin, showed up with a rehearsed speech about emotional intelligence. I listened for 10 minutes, showed her the door, and went back to work. Thursday night, she tried seduction, coming downstairs in lingerie, talking about how stress makes people say things they don't mean. My answer was still no. She kept waiting for me to crack. That's how it had always worked. I'd stand firm on something minor, she'd make life uncomfortable, and eventually I'd compromise for peace. Not this time. I went to the gym at 5 a.m., made my own meals. Caught up on shows she'd vetoed. I slept in the guest room and, honestly, slept better than I had in months. Funny what happens when you stop walking on eggshells. Sunday morning, she left early, saying she was going to her final dress fitting with her sister Allison and friends who'd flown in from Denver. I knew the appointment had been cancelled. Wednesday morning, 8:47 a.m., according to my cancellation spreadsheet. The bridal boutique confirmed via email at 9:12 a.m. I didn't mention it. Some lessons need to land hard. Sunday evening, I was on the couch, enjoying the quiet, when my phone lit up. Courtney's sister, Allison. The one who'd looked at me for 2 years like I was something she'd scraped off her shoe. Not successful enough, not polished enough, not the right pedigree. Clay, what is wrong with you? Allison, what can I do for you? Courtney showed up to her dress fitting today and the shop was dark, locked. She stood there for 20 minutes before someone finally told her the appointment was cancelled days ago. She is absolutely hysterical. The wedding's cancelled. I told Courtney that Tuesday morning, 5 days ago. You can't just cancel someone's wedding. I cancelled my wedding, which is what I did. Do you have any idea how humiliating this was for her? Standing outside that bridal shop like an idiot? Her friends flew in from Denver. Your mother was there in her good dress. They all watched her break down in a parking lot. I almost felt bad. Almost. Then I remembered her laughing at the prenup. Courtney knew the wedding was off. If she decided not to believe me, that's on her. She thought you were bluffing. She thought you'd cool down and come to your senses, like you always do. I don't bluff, Allison. Never have. When I say something, I mean it. You're destroying her over a piece of paper, over money. That's what matters to you. I'm protecting 13 years of work from someone who thinks showing up entitles her to half of it. The piece of paper was just how I found out who I was really dealing with. Allison went off, called me every name in the book, then hung up. About an hour later, Courtney came home. Mascara streaked down her face, eyes swollen. That $6,500 dress she'd cried over would never exist. Just a deposit lost. She stood in the doorway, looking at me like I'd personally burned down everything she loved. The shop was locked. Nobody was there. The manager told me it was cancelled a week ago. I looked like a complete idiot in front of everyone. I told you the wedding was off, Courtney. I thought you were being dramatic. I thought you'd realize what you were throwing away and come crawling back. I realized that's exactly why we're not getting married. She collapsed onto the couch. How could you do this to me? How could you humiliate me like this? I didn't do anything to you. I didn't force you to ignore what I told you. I didn't make you show up at an appointment that didn't exist. You did that to yourself by refusing to believe I meant what I said. I was scared, okay? I thought the prenup meant you didn't really love me. That you were already planning for us to fail. The prenup protected you too, Courtney. Guaranteed support if we divorced. Alimony based on marriage length. That's more than most people get. But not half your business. Not half your house. There it was. Finally. Honest. No. Not half of things you had nothing to do with building. That was never on the table. So, I was supposed to just trust you. Trust that you'd take care of me. The prenup was how I was going to take care of you. Clear terms, legal guarantees, protection for both of us. But you didn't want protection. You wanted ownership. She had no answer for that. Just sat there crying while I finished watching the game. Tuesday afternoon, Courtney's parents arrived with a U-Haul. Her dad stepped out first, puffed chest, hard eyes. The look of a man who thought old money made him intimidating. Clay, we need to talk. What's on your mind? You're making a huge mistake. Courtney's a good woman. You won't find better. She might be a good woman for someone, just not for me. You're throwing away something special over greed. Over money. I'm protecting what I spent 13 years building from someone who thinks she deserves half of it for showing up. That's not greed. That's common sense. His jaw tightened. He wasn't used to people standing their ground. I'd stared down unreasonable clients and suppliers. A retired consultant in Italian loafers wasn't going to shake me. You'll regret this, he said, stepping closer. Maybe, but I doubt it. Courtney's mom, quick to tears and guilt trips, pleaded, please, Clay, reconsider. She loves you so much. This is destroying her. Ma'am, people who are scared don't laugh at reasonable requests and issue ultimatums. They communicate. They find middle ground. They don't say, marry me as is or not at all, and expect the other person to fold. That shut her up. She knew, on some level, her daughter had overplayed her hand. They loaded Courtney's belongings into the U-Haul. 3 closets worth of clothes, some with tags still on. Her books on manifesting abundance that I never saw her read. Her dad shoulder-checked me in the hallway. I just looked at him until he walked away. Her mom asked if I wanted any pictures of us, as if I'd want souvenirs of this disaster. Before they left, Courtney found me in my home office for one last play. Mascara running again. Clay, I'll sign the prenup. Whatever you want, whatever terms. Let's just postpone the wedding a few months and start over. Please. No, Courtney. Why not? I'm agreeing to what you wanted. I'm giving you exactly what you asked for. Because you only want to sign now that you've lost everything. Your first instinct was to laugh at me and demand half my life's work. That tells me who you really are. Deep down, when it mattered. People make mistakes. I was stressed about the wedding. The planning was overwhelming. Stressed people don't laugh at their partner's concerns, Courtney. Entitled people do. You showed me exactly who you are. She left crying. Her parents shot me looks that probably should have made me feel guilty. Her dad muttered something about lawyers on his way out. I watched the U-Haul pull out of my driveway and felt nothing but relief. That night, I slept 9 hours straight. No anxiety, no wondering if she was mad, no walking on eggshells. Just peace. The next morning, I kept catching that faint, nasty smell. Not dead animal bad, just wrong. Like something oily and fishy had been smeared somewhere it shouldn't be. It took 2 days to find it. Inside the bedroom closet she'd just cleared out. She'd wiped fish bait oil along the back wall and under the baseboard trim. The stuff from my garage. I had to scrub the wall with industrial degreaser and repaint the whole closet. Took an afternoon and about $40 in supplies. What made it almost funny was realizing she must have packed right after, because whatever she'd done wasn't just contained to my house. A couple of her garment bags she'd left behind still had the oily residue. She contaminated her own clothes, pulling middle school sabotage on her way out. A day or two later, she called, furious. Half my work wardrobe smells disgusting. What did you do? I didn't touch your stuff. If your clothes smell like fish, it probably has something to do with whatever stunt you pulled in my closet on moving day. Maybe next time don't do your packing right after playing amateur vandal. She hung up. 2 weeks of quiet followed. I figured the drama was over. Courtney was gone, the wedding dead. I'd taken my losses and moved on, even started thinking about redoing the master bathroom now that I didn't have to worry about her opinions on tile colors. Then my bank's fraud department called and blew everything wide open. Sir, this is First Regional Security. We need to discuss some unusual activity on your accounts. My stomach dropped. What kind of activity? Someone attempted to add an authorized user to your business checking account approximately 3 weeks ago. The request was submitted online using your login credentials, but our security system flagged it because the IP address didn't match your usual devices. 3 weeks ago, Courtney was still living in my house, still playing the loving fiancé, while apparently trying to get her hands on my money. Who is the attempted authorized user? Courtney. My blood ran cold. What exactly did she access? Our logs show she had partial account access for roughly 5 hours before our fraud detection locked the account. She viewed balances across all linked accounts, business checking, business savings, your personal accounts. She downloaded transaction histories going back 2 years. And she attempted to initiate a wire transfer of $12,000 to an external account. The transfer was blocked by our large transaction hold policy. 12 grand. She tried to steal $12,000 from my business account while I was sleeping, 20 feet away, thinking we were just having a rough patch. I'm coming in today. Right now. I was at the bank within the hour. The fraud specialist, a severe-looking woman who'd probably seen every scam, walked me through the access logs in a private office. She logged in at 2:43 a.m. on Tuesday, the same day you ended the engagement. That would be approximately 6 hours after our disagreement, the night of the ultimatum. While I was sleeping, she was trying to rob me. The timestamp kept repeating in my head, 2:43 a.m. I was probably in REM sleep while she was browsing my account balances. She spent 4 hours going through your accounts systematically, very methodical. First, she checked balances. Then she downloaded transaction statements. Our records show PDF exports at 3:17, 3:24, 3:31, and 3:45 a.m. Then she started mapping patterns, when deposits hit, when payments clear, which accounts had the most liquidity. She even exported a list of your largest clients and their payment schedules. This wasn't casual browsing. This was reconnaissance. Unbelievable. At 5:51 a.m., she searched how to add authorized user using your saved browser session. At 6:08 a.m., she attempted to add herself as an authorized signer on the business checking. That failed. Then at 6:17 a.m., she attempted the wire transfer. She even wrote deposit refund in the memo line, probably hoping it would slip through. To an account at Community First Credit Union across town. We traced it. Account was opened 4 days before the attempted transfer. Her name only, no other signers. She'd planned it. This wasn't some emotional impulse. She'd opened the receiving account before she ever gave me that ultimatum. She was going to take my money whether I married her or not. Sir, this is textbook wire fraud. Federal crime. You need to file a police report immediately. I called my attorney from the bank parking lot, hands shaking, half angry, half vindicated. It's Clay. Courtney tried to steal 12 grand from my business account while she was living in my house. Pause. Clay, that's a felony. Actual federal charges. Prison time. Are you absolutely sure you want to pursue this? She tried to rob me while I was asleep 20 feet away. Yeah, I'm sure. The police report took 3 hours. The detective, a stocky guy who'd seen every scam, nodded. Any idea how she obtained your login credentials? She lived with me. I worked from home evenings, sometimes logged into accounts with her in the room. She does digital marketing, understands systems. Probably watched me type passwords a few times. The attempted wire transfer and the pre-established receiving account suggest significant premeditation. This wasn't a moment of weakness. No. She opened that account 4 days before she gave me the ultimatum. Before we even fought. She'd already decided to take whatever she could get. The detective nodded. We'll investigate thoroughly. Subpoena the bank records. Trace the IP addresses. Document the complete timeline. If the evidence supports charges, and from what you're describing, it sounds like it will, we'll issue a warrant. I added the closet cleaning receipt to the same folder as the bank logs. $43 for degreaser, primer, and paint. I like patterns. Courts like patterns, too. Word travels in small legal circles. A week after I filed the police report, Courtney called. "Clay, I heard you went to the police. What are you doing?" "Reporting a crime. There was some mix-up with account access. A misunderstanding. You broke into my accounts and tried to steal $12,000. There's no misunderstanding. I wasn't going to keep it. I was proving a point." "What point?" "That you could take my money whenever you wanted? That I was hiding assets from you? I had a right to know what I was agreeing to. It's my business account, Courtney. My business I built before I met you. You had no right to anything in it." Click. 2 days later, her father called. "Clay, this police situation stops immediately. Sir, Courtney made a mistake accessing your account. She didn't actually take anything. No real harm was done. She attempted to steal $12,000. The only reason she failed is the bank's security system caught it. She was emotional, upset about the wedding. She opened the receiving account 4 days before the ultimatum. Before we even fought. This was calculated. She's young. You can't destroy her life over a lapse in judgment. Accessing accounts at 3 a.m. and attempting wire transfers isn't a lapse. It's fraud. It's a federal crime. You should have raised her better than coming to me yelling about what I should and should not do." Clay, talk to Courtney's lawyer. 3 weeks later, they arrested her at her parents' house. Made enough noise that the neighbors noticed. Her father tried to physically block the federal agents from taking his daughter. Ended up in handcuffs himself for obstruction, spent a night in county lockup while his lawyers scrambled. I heard the country club crowd had opinions about that one. Legal proceedings stretched over 3 months. Courtney's expensive defense attorney tried that confused about account ownership due to emotional distress from wedding planning stress angle. They even brought in a psychologist who testified about dissociative states. The prosecution dismantled it in minutes with the bank's time-stamped logs. She'd researched the account structure deliberately. Searched for accounts with the highest balances. Noted transaction patterns. Opened the receiving account 4 days beforehand, not during some emotional breakdown, but during a perfectly normal Thursday when she'd also gone to yoga and gotten her nails done. She'd timed the transfer for 6 a.m. when I'd definitely be asleep. This wasn't confusion. This was theft. She pled guilty to avoid trial. Smart move. A jury would have buried her. The sentence, 18 months federal probation, full restitution to the bank for investigation costs, 150 hours of community service, and a federal felony conviction that would show up on every background check for the rest of her life. No more digital marketing jobs at reputable companies. No more "I'm a professional" identity. Just Courtney, convicted felon. Her parents blamed me until the end. Her mom called the night before sentencing to beg for leniency. I told her I wasn't the prosecutor and had no input on federal sentencing. She called me heartless. I hung up. 5 months later, I was leaving the courthouse after giving a deposition in an unrelated business matter, a contract dispute with a part supplier. Routine annoyance. Then I saw her. Courtney, standing near the water fountain in the main lobby, talking to someone who looked like a public defender. Young guy in a cheap suit, holding a stack of files. She'd lost weight, hair pulled back, no makeup, wearing clothes I didn't recognize. She looked exhausted. That bone-deep tired you get when your whole life is circling the drain. She saw me at the same time. For a second, neither of us moved. People walked past, busy with their own problems. The marble floors echoed with footsteps and murmured conversation. Then she said something to the lawyer who nodded and stepped away, probably giving her privacy she didn't deserve. She walked over, stopped about 5 feet away, like she wasn't sure if closer was allowed. Clay. Courtney. I didn't know you'd be here. Supplier dispute. Nothing to do with you. She nodded, looked at the marble floor, then back up. I got a job, finally. Data entry at a temp agency. $12 an hour. My parents had to co-sign my apartment lease because no landlord would take me with the conviction on my record. I didn't say anything. I replay that night constantly. The one where I gave you the ultimatum. I keep thinking if I just said yes to the prenup, we'd be married right now. I'd still have my career, my apartment, my friends, everything. Probably. I was so sure you'd fold. You always compromised before on everything. I thought. She trailed off. You thought I'd value peace over principles. Yeah, I did for a while. Then you showed me what that was actually costing me. She wiped her eyes. No tears yet, but close. I'm sorry for all of it. The ultimatum, the account thing, everything. I looked at her for a long moment. The woman I'd planned to marry. The woman who'd laughed at my concerns and tried to rob me while I slept. I believe you're sorry, Courtney, but you're sorry you got caught. You're sorry there were consequences. If the bank hadn't flagged that transfer, you'd have taken the money and figured out how to take more. That's not, it is. You opened that receiving account before you gave me the ultimatum. You'd already decided to steal from me. The prenup fight was just you testing whether you could get it legally instead. She didn't deny it. Couldn't. The timeline was in the court records. I loved you, she said quietly. Save it, baby girl. Her lawyer was gesturing from across the lobby. Time's up. I have to go. Probation check-in. Good luck with that. She hesitated, like she wanted to say something else. Then turned and walked away. I watched her go. Didn't feel triumph. Didn't feel satisfaction. Didn't feel much of anything except finished. Maybe a little tired. Maybe a little older than I was 10 months ago. I got in my truck and drove to the shop. Work to do. How many times do we miss the warnings until they become undeniable?